They say blood is thicker than water. Hmm, that's true. But what happens when that blood deliberately destroys a 10 years happy marriage? That is the story I'm about to tell you. So sit tight, carry your popcorn or abasha and enjoy this beautiful story. Let me start from here. Frank and Ijiro were the only children of their parents, and from childhood, their bond was unusually strong. They loved each other deeply, so much that strangers often assumed they were a couple. Those who truly knew them were never surprised, because Frank and Ejiro had been inseparable since they were young. They did everything together. They visited friends and relatives together, went on vacations together, traveled together, attended events together, and shared almost every moment of their lives side by side. Hmm. You see the closeness, Abby? Even when they grew older, chose different career paths, nothing changed between them. Their parents were wealthy, but it didn't make them lazy. Frank grew into a brilliant and successful software engineer, respected in his field. Ejiro became a renowned fashion designer, admired for her creativity and talent. Both siblings were gurus in their own specialty, hardworking and accomplished. Because of their closeness, many people often gossiped. Would this one never get married and successfully live apart? Hmm. Some quietly questioned whether any future partner would be able to fit into such a tight bond. When Frank eventually came of age, he decided it was time to settle down. He married a beautiful woman from Imo State, a kind, calm, and patient lady who loved him deeply. Her name was Ijoma. Frank would never hurt his wife, neither will he let anyone hurt her. He loves Ijoma so dearly. He was passionate and intentional about her. Their marriage was blessed with 4 children, 2 handsome boys and 2 beautiful girls. They were a joyful family of 6. Aside from the 2 nannies and 2 maids living with them, there was one person living in the house who shouldn't be there. Ejiro. Ejiro could not stay on her own. She had spent her entire life beside her brother and could not imagine a life without him in the same space. After Frank's marriage, she moved in with him and his wife without hesitation. At first, Ijoma thought it was sweet. She admired the bond between the siblings and believed it was beautiful to see such closeness. She thought to herself that having faith around would feel like gaining a sister. I don't have to worry about my family anymore. I have a sister now, Ijoma said happily. However, as time passed, the sweetness faded. Ijoma slowly realized she barely had privacy with her husband. Conversations meant for husband and wife were constantly interrupted. If she discussed anything with Frank, Ejiro would suddenly appear and insert herself into the discussion. If Frank bought anything for his wife, clothes, shoes, bags or jewelries, perfumes or Ejiro would use them freely without asking for permission. She behaved as though everything in the house belonged to her by right. Ijoma found this extremely offensive, but she swallowed her pain. She did not want to hurt her husband or be seen as the woman trying to come between siblings. So she stayed quiet. She endured. Days turned into months. Months turned into years. 10 long years passed. During those years, the wife complained gently, sometimes tearfully to Frank. Frank tried everything he could think of. He spoke calmly to his sister. He shouted when calm words failed. He begged her. He involved family members. He pleaded with friends to speak to Ejiro. He tried persuasion, warnings, explanations, and emotional abuse. Nothing worked. Ejiro's response never changed. He is my brother. Everything he buys, I have access to it. He is my blood, not your blood. Ejiro believed deeply in the saying that blood was thicker than water, and she used it as her shield. To her, no marriage could compete with the bond she shared with her brother. Ijoma later gathered courage and spoke directly to Ejiro, calmly and respectfully. She explained that she was not trying to separate her from her brother. She acknowledged their closeness and said she respected it, but she also made it clear that she needed privacy in her own home. She reminded Ejiro that someday she would get married too, and she would not tolerate someone invading her marriage the way she was doing now. Ejiro did not listen. Instead, she became competitive. Everything turned into a silent contest between her and Ijeoma. If Frank bought a gift for his wife, Ejiro wanted the same or even better. In an attempt to reduce conflict, Frank started buying duplicate gifts. Whenever he bought something for his wife, he bought the same for Ejiro. Sometimes, he even bought more for Ejiro just to keep peace. If his wife received one pair of shoes, Ejiro got three. If his wife got one bag, Ejiro got multiple. But the strategy failed. Ejiro continued using her brother's wife's belongings. She entered her room freely, wore her clothes, used her shoes, perfumes and accessories without permission. The children began to complain daily about how their aunt treated their mother. There were moments Ejiro openly insulted Ijeoma. On some occasions, she boldly told her, "If you are tired of staying here, then leave my brother's house. I knew him before you. There is no way he will ever choose you over me." The tension in the house grew heavier every day. Anyone who tried to correct Ejiro became her enemy. She despised correction. Being a 28-year-old woman still living under her brother's roof did not bother her at all. She was comfortable. She felt entitled. Frank even offered to rent a separate apartment for her and pay 5 years' rent up front. He promised her monthly allowances and every support she needed. Ejiro refused. She said she had known her brother all her life and would not allow a stranger come between them. Frank repeatedly corrected her. "She is my wife. She is my family. She is not a stranger." Ejiro never listened. Trying another approach, Frank bought customized gifts. He bought towels, one with his wife's name, Ijeoma, beautifully embroidered, and another with Ejiro's name, clearly customized. The wife cherished hers and carefully kept it aside. Ejiro also received hers. A week later, Frank traveled for a business trip. That day, the wife was home with the children, the nanny, and Ejiro. She spent the evening in the kitchen, cooking dinner for the family. After finishing, she decided to take her bath. She remembered the special towel her husband bought for her and felt comforted by the thought of using it. She walked into her bedroom and then she froze. Ejiro was standing there, drying her body with the towel. The towel with Ijeoma's name customized on it, pressed against her chest. In that moment, something broke. Ijeoma felt anger, pain, humiliation, and exhaustion crash over her at once. She was shaken. She was tired. She was done. Years of silence, patience, and endurance collapsed into a single unbearable moment. She turned away without a word, walked out, locked herself in another room, and sat on the bed, trembling. She picked up her phone. Gathering the last bit of strength she had left, she called her husband. When Frank answered, her voice was calm, but it was trembling. Tears filled her eyes. Her words came out broken. "I can't take this anymore,"